So, it's a very varied topic, and Gopi Kishan wrote one of the first
Yes.
treatises on Kundalini way back in 1970s, and living in Srinagar and all that. Lately, there are various forms which people claim to awaken or to put on. So, could you tell us a little bit about what is Kundalini, how do you awaken it, and what happens when you awaken the Kundalini?
Yeah, it's such a good question, and there's so many different forms of Kundalini yoga, and there's so many ideas about what Kundalini is. In the tradition that I study in, and the way that I practice and teach, Kundalini is considered the energy of awareness. So the more we awaken ourselves out of the conditioned patterns of the mind, and the more we start to experience the unity consciousness and the oneness and alter our perception, clear the way that we're seeing life, that actually all of that is because of the energy of Kundalini. It's because of the consciousness rising and our awareness expanding. I think that because some people experience it as energy moving along the spine, that shifts their perception of things very quickly. And as you mentioned, Yogi Krishna's book, that he had a very fast Kundalini awakening, which took a long time for his physiology to integrate and his energetic system to integrate. In the way that I study and practice, it's a lot about preparing the body and the energy so that it's a less bumpy ride. As you wake up that force of Kundalini, you wake up the potential.
What is Kundalini? What is the person? Is it a physical force? Is it like he refers to it as a gush of energy and water that shooted up from his spine and all that? So is that what a person should expect to feel? I mean, what is Kundalini?
I think this is the mystery of Kundalini. I don't think that we can expect anything in particular. She shows up sometimes in that way, and people have that level of strong awakening, but she shows up sometimes when people just sit and there's a bloom in their consciousness.
What is
That's
consciousness? What is consciousness? What is it? Maybe I'm sorry I'm asking all these very basic questions.
In this perception, there's consciousness and there's energy, right? There's consciousness, there's the knowing, there's the aspect of self that is experiencing and witnessing and knowing, and then there's the energy of life. So we're using, in this case, energy to purify the energy, to awaken ourselves to a higher consciousness. Just meaning that if we're living in the consciousness of fear or lack or attachment or aversion to things, that we're binding ourselves constantly because we're trying to manipulate and control everything in our environment. What the yoga tradition teaches us and the Kundalini practice teaches us is that we need to understand how this vehicle operates, and we need to optimize it physically, emotionally, mentally, energetically, so that we can start to access a more refined consciousness, a consciousness that's operating at a higher frequency, much more unity consciousness than lack consciousness. So the journey in the Kundalini tradition is to slowly start to dissolve all of the ways that we are identifying in a limited way and start to awaken ourselves to the higher levels of possibility and potential.
So consider two people, one with a regular person and one who has a higher level of consciousness. What would the difference between these two people be? Would it be better decision making? Would it be better health? I mean, what do you think will the change be? What should a person aspire for?
In my experience, when I witness those people who have had a Kundalini awakening, just more spaciousness, more peace of mind, clarity, connectedness, decision making that is connected to the whole, not just what's in it for me. More vitality, more health. For sure.
And would you think it would cure certain diseases as well? I mean, if a person is suffering from, say, anything, I mean, a diabetes or any of the lifestyle diseases, which is a lot of what we are having today. Awakening the Kundalini in your, I mean, give us some examples of people who you know whose Kundalini has awakened, and what did you see, what happened?
Yes, well, if we're talking about Kundalini awakening, we're talking about waking up to the highest potential available within each and every one of us. Now, there's stages to that awakening. And if we're going to have vitality and have health, we have to look after the physical body, right?
Yes.
We have to. We can't eat bad foods or just unhealthy foods and expect to have a healthy vehicle. We have to take care of this vehicle. We have to take care of our energy. So we have to build the physical body. We have to cultivate more energy and learn about how to shift the state of our energy. So we're not stuck in depression or a lethargic state which creates physical conditions, or we're not stuck in anxiety and agitation which creates a lot of mental, emotional patterns. And so in this yoga practice, we work to stabilize and purify the physical body. We purify the energetic body. And in purifying the energetic body, you start to purify the emotions. And what the modern new scientists are showing us is that our emotions are actually dictating our experience of life.
Our emotions.
Our emotions. Obviously, the mind and the emotions are together, right? As we think, so we feel. As we feel, so we think.
Right.
So
we think, so we feel, and as we think, so we feel. Okay.
So this loop is happening, and what the modern scientists is showing is that emotions have a certain chemical reality within the body, right? So there's hormones that are connected to our emotional state. What happens is the body gets familiar with a certain emotional state, emotional mental loop. So say you go to work every day at 8 o'clock in the morning and it's a stressful drive, you meet traffic and you get stress in your body. Your body starts to regulate at the level of stress. It becomes familiar to you. So now you go on holiday and it's 8 o'clock in the morning and your body is used to stress. So you start to create, you have an argument with your wife. It's beautiful, you're on holiday, but you have an argument with your wife at 8 o'clock in the morning because your body is craving an argument. It's craving stress because that's the chemical reality that you've created. So a lot of what we're doing here is purifying on the emotional, mental level, doing lots of pranayama and practices that help to move. I see students all the time burst into tears in the middle of class, or get really angry, or get really blissful, or somewhere in that spectrum, because they have to release some of these dominant emotional patterns and then stabilize themselves in a new frequency. All of this is under the same context of raising your Kundalini. If you shift your state of energy, if you attune yourself to a different frequency, then you've raised your Kundalini to a certain perspective, and then you keep moving it and moving it and moving it. And obviously the final frontier is to start to purify and clear the subtle ways that the mind is keeping us entrapped in patterns. The mental, emotional body works together, but the mind is the strong driving force. And so then when you start to begin to concentrate the mind and move out of your familiar experience of your limited identity, you can start to open yourself to new possibilities, new energy, new awakenings. And when you get to this stage, this is when people will suddenly have a mystical experience. Energy move through them. Strange shapes. Kriyas happening spontaneously. Mantras pouring out of their mouth. Just, this is like that awakening of the higher consciousness. Because you have cleared the vessel and you have systematically, gone through these layers of our density, the physical body, the energy body, the mental, emotional body, until we start to clarify to being more aware, more light, more present, more spontaneous, more joyful, more love, all of those things.
So how long do you think a regular person would take to? Is Kriya Yoga also part of this whole process? Because that's something which is from this autobiography of a yogi.
Yes.
He focuses a lot on Kriya Yoga.
It's all connected. It's all connected.
Because they're different even over here at the yoga conference.
Yes.
I attended a Kundalini session the other day, and pardon my ignorance, but people were made to run around and all that,
Yes.
as one of the ways, and I could understand that.
So think of it as energy, moving energy.
Okay.
So say people are tired, they've been out, they're spaced out, they're tired. You gotta move energy in a short period of time. Great way is to just get them up, make them dance, make them run, do something that just activates their energy.
Right.
Then, once the energy is activated, now you have something to work with. Now you can start to direct that energy through a series of postures, breaths, mantra, and then stabilize it where you want the energy to be.
Oh, I understand it better now.
Yes.
Because
it looks crazy from the outside.
Yeah, because I kind of left I got up because I couldn't understand the point
Yes.
of
Yes.
running from one end of the stage to the other and,
Yes.
and doing that. So
Yeah.
you obviously have awakened your Kundalini. How was your experience? How did that happen? What's been your experience of yoga?
Well, first I did Ashtanga yoga, like Patabi Joyce. It was a very physical practice, and the way that I dealt, I think we all deal with our personal trauma in life in different ways. The way I did was I just dissociated, not quite in my body. So the Ashtanga yoga brought me into my body. Then I got turned on to Kundalini yoga, and I very specifically, there was a moment when we did a very strong navel kriya, and right at the end I laid down and just everything went exquisitely silent. Everything, all noise, all mental noise.
And you remember the day?
I remember the moment, I don't remember the day, but I remember the experience because it never went away. And for me, then in my late 20s, that was just the first time I felt like I had experienced myself. Now, I didn't recognize it as a Kundalini awakening at the time, I just felt different. And then slowly, over the years, my experience of this journey is not a big shoot of energy up the spine, but it's a continual refinement of my capacity to be clear, my capacity to experience oneness, my capacity for love. It's a much more subtle experience. So there's many different ways. So I think sometimes there can be a mental trap to thinking that it's going to show up in a particular way. But just to be open to the mystery of life. That if you really want to know who you are at the deepest level, we have to follow that quest. That's been my quest since I was 15 years old. I began this process, and I wanted to know. And so I've been slowly
But what would
working.
cause a 15-year-old American girl to look at yoga? I mean,
Well,
your parents must have thought you were pretty geek.
yeah, well, I'm British first. My father died when I was 15,
Oh, okay.
and I heard him speak to me.
Okay.
I was asleep, but I wasn't dreaming. And I heard his voice telling me, it's okay, I'm okay. And that ignited the spiritual quest. Because then I realized,
You're sure you weren't hallucinating or just dreaming?
I can only just tell you I'm positive, and I've had many profound dreams, but they were dreams. This wasn't a dream. And this just set me on this path of recognizing there's more to what the eyes can see.
Absolutely.
And as the yoga tradition says, there's worlds upon worlds upon worlds.
It's the matrix.
Yes, it's the matrix. And so for me then, I never had a doubt after that. I knew there was more. And I dedicated myself to it. And here I am.
Wow.
Still
now
dedicated to it. Still a student to that
So now you live in the US.
in the US.
And so, like, we could go on talking, but I think you're super busy in this festival. And so, just as a last thing, tell us about your activities right now. I know you are available on the internet, and there are a few lessons that people can take over there. So, for everybody listening and watching,
Yes,
let them know where to find you.
I teach on an online platform called GLO.com, and I have about 200 classes on there. Different styles of class depending on people's interest and depending on what level of practitioner they are. And then I teach in festivals and conferences like this all over the world, and I lead immersive experiences because my intention, my mission, what I love to do is take people through intensive transformational experiences that really help them to move from one state of being to another state of being, and really excel along that path. So that's what I really love to do. So I encourage all listeners here to, wherever you're at in life, maybe you already really take care of your body and your diet, or maybe you already meditate a lot, but I just encourage everybody to treat this organism that we are at all levels. So do physical practice that keeps your body and your organic system and your physiology balanced and stabilized. And do pranayama so that you can see how quickly you can have control over your mental emotional state, that you don't have to be a slave to your emotions. You don't have to have bad days anymore. You can catch it and shift it. And to practice devotional and meditative practices that awaken that force of love that helps us to move away from suffering and into love, because we really need this in the world right now.
More than ever.
More than ever.
In the divisive world that we probably see today.
Yeah. And I would just say that I've witnessed miracles after miracles with people doing this kind of work. That there's so much possibility, whether you're sick in your body or you're sick emotionally or your mind is unbalanced, that when you start to do these practices and you create the yoga, the integrated state of being, and you start to tap into the unified field and everything that's possible when we expand our vision and experience of ourselves, then I just see miracles happening. And that's what I feel like we need too right now. We need these miracles. We need to open ourselves to them.